book, Surviving the Storm. Written by Foxy Baby. Narrated by Kyosia. Prologue. Storm. 18 months earlier. The whip whistled through the air as its tail came down, landing on my back and biting painfully into my skin once again. I bit down on my lower lip, making sure that I didn't whimper or cry out as the pain washed over me once more. I had learned years ago that they enjoyed it more when I cried out. They got off on my pain. The more noise I made, the more fun they seemed to have. My father and oldest brother, Mason, had started this sick and twisted pastime of theirs not long after my mother had died 9 years ago. My mother had been murdered by rogues when I was 9 years old. Ever since she had died, my life had changed, and not for the better. So, for the past 7 years, this had been my normal. I had learned to endure this torment. The whip kept falling across my back, one strike after another, cutting into my skin, leaving trails of blood trickling down my back. Ordinarily, werewolves healed quickly, but there were things that prevented our healing abilities from kicking in and allowing us to recover quickly. That's what was causing problems for me right now. The whip that was currently falling across my skin had been soaked in a herb called wolfsbane, which was why I wasn't healing like I normally would. Silver was another thing that worked against us werewolves. I pulled on the chains attached to the cuffs around my wrists, once more trying to free myself. But it was pointless. I couldn't get free no matter how much I tried. After my father and my eldest brother Mason had had enough of hurting me with the whip, they decided to have a little more fun. My charming father, the great Alpha Ryland Danger, picked up the silver knife he had left sitting on the bench and walked around in front of me. Giving me an evil smirk, he sliced the blade across the left side of my abdomen. I felt the warmth of my blood dripping down my side and the excruciating pain that ripped through my body as the silver blade ripped through me. But still, I did not cry out or make a sound. I refused to give him the satisfaction. How long this sick, twisted fun of theirs went on for? I had no idea. It could have been minutes or hours. But when they had finally finished having their fun, they undid the handcuffs, letting me drop to the ground in a messy pile of blood and sweat, curled up in a ball of excruciating pain. It wasn't long after they had released me that my brother Mason left the basement, leaving me alone with my pathetic excuse of a father. Having had enough of the pain and wanting it to end once and for all, I took my chance to get rid of him out of my life for good. My father had his back to me as he meticulously cleaned his tools of torture. I watched as he cleaned the silver blades and set them on the cloth that he kept them wrapped in. Seizing this opportunity that I knew I wouldn't get again anytime soon, I reached over, grabbing the blood-coated silver knife he had just finished using on me. Using the very last bit of strength I had left in my body to rid myself of him once and for all. I launched myself onto his back and brought the blade across his throat. Digging the blade into his throat as deep as I could, cutting through the muscle and cartilage, I ended his life. My father's lifeless body fell to the floor, the blood spilling from the gaping wound in his neck and pooling around him. Sitting there on the floor, looking at his lifeless corpse, I knew I was not yet free of this nightmare. With the death of the monster who was known to everyone within the pack as my father, my nightmare was only half over. To me, he could never be referred to as my father in the truest sense of the word, not after everything he had done to me. Honestly, he could never be referred to as nothing more than a sperm donor. No real father could ever treat their child the way he had treated me. Not long after I had killed the monster, Mason came back into the basement, stopping short in the doorway when he saw our father lying dead in a pool of blood on the basement floor. Standing there in shock, He looked back and forth between the body of our father lying in a pool of blood and me, his mouth opening and closing like a goldfish. Finally seeming to get it together, he looked over at me, his eyes meeting mine. I saw the fear in his eyes. It was as though he was finally realizing that the innocent child that he had taken part in torturing for all those years wasn't so vulnerable and defenseless anymore. I looked into his eyes, allowing him to see how much hatred I had for him. I wanted to kill him too. I wanted his body lying dead on the floor beside our father's, and judging by the look in his eyes as his gaze met mine, he knew it. But at that moment, I did not have the strength left in me to kill him too. Suffering from severe blood loss and my body filled with pain from their torture, I could do nothing more than sit there, looking at him and wishing I had the strength to kill him too. I wish I could tell you that after that night my life got better, but if I were to tell you that, I would be lying. With our father's death, Mason took over as alpha of our pack. Once he became alpha, he set about systematically turning the other members of the pack against me through malicious lies and manipulation. He got the pack involved with the abuse that he directed at me, controlling them all through fear and intimidation. Members of our pack, fearful getting on his bad side, complied with his wishes and turned on me so fast that I had to wonder if they had ever really liked me at all. However, there were 4 members of the pack that Mason couldn't manage to turn against me, no matter what he tried in order to make them turn. Those 4 pack members were my twin brother Logan, my best friend Kat, and my mother's parents. Those 4 remained loyal to me to this day.